Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Champion Minded podcast. I'm Allistair. Good to have you with me this week. This week I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California, doing some workout here and some speaking engagements. So super excited about that as well. Also just nice to get a little bit of a break out of the Florida heat. So always nice to come West Coast side. But this week I'm going to be talking about that the best are the best for a reason. And I was actually on a run this morning when I thought about this with regards, why are the best the best? What are those traits? And, there's so many things we can think about. There's so many traits we can think about. But I came up with 5 specific ones. In fact, I had to cut my run short this morning because I really wanted to come back and get the podcast done and not forget the 5 things that I thought about. Unfortunately, I didn't have a notepad and a pen, which I usually do when I not when I run, but when I go places. If I'm flying or at a sports event or wherever it may be, I always carry a piece of pen and paper. And yes, that's old-fashioned. The new generation tell me, they say, why don't you put it on your phone? But I just find I remember things a lot easier, and I like to write it down as well. So. That's an important thing. But here's the 5 traits of what I found of why the best are the best for a reason. Number 1, they are always learning. I'm obviously in the coaching sector, in the coaching field, but I'll never forget a conference I attended around about 3 or 4 years ago. It was with USA Basketball, and it was in Orlando. And they had a few speakers there who were presenting, some well-known speakers. But what fascinated me was sitting alongside me were some really, really prominent coaches in the world of NBA. I can remember Erik Spoelstra there from Miami Heat. I can remember Jeff Van Gundy, who was coaching Orlando at the time. He's now with the Detroit Pistons. I can remember them sitting with their notepads and taking notes furiously. Now, these are guys that have, especially Erik Spoelstra, who have achieved NBA championships. LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade were in that era when Erik Spoelstra, I think, won 3 championship rings. But here were NBA coaches, the best in their field, sitting there writing and taking notes like there was no tomorrow. And they were taking notes from everybody, not just maybe coaches that might have achieved more than them, but even coaches they probably hadn't have heard of. And that always sticks in my mind. I always remember a story about John Wooden, the famous basketball coach as well. And they would say he would sit at the front of workshops or speeches or whatever it may be, and he'd sit there and take notes. And there's obviously one of the most prominent and famous coaches of all time. So the first one is learning. They're always learning. They wake up with a thirst to learn. They're lifelong learners. Second one, they ask questions. They ask more questions than the normal person. They are curious about things. They are interested in things. They're not just talking about themselves. They have lesser ego. They're humble. These great coaches, great leaders, and successful people, but they ask questions. They want to know why. Sometimes it can almost be too much, but they want to know. They really want to know. So the second one is they ask questions. The third one is that the best of the best are well connected. They say it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I really go about that. The more I'm in the industry, and the older I get, of course. It really comes down to your connections, building great, long-lasting relationships. I remember one time listening to Michael Boyle. It was in Dublin, Ireland, speaking. And Michael said, "Do you know who you don't know?" And I know that might sound confusing. I'll say it again. Do you know who you don't know? That person sitting next to you, you might not know who they are, but in future you might need them, or there might be someone that could connect you within your industry. And it's just important. Start up conversations. That person in the airport, or person standing with you in the supermarket line, wherever it is, you just never know. The person next to you, and they might be someone beneficial in your life eventually. So the best of the best are well connected. Their best ability is their likability. So that's the third one. The fourth one, and this is something I've found working with elite athletes, world-class athletes, is that the best are not easy people. They're not easy people to work with. Why? Because, again, they ask a lot of questions. Their standards are very high. They're just very, very difficult people to work with sometimes. But when you understand them, that is why they've become so successful in whatever they do, is that they want the best. They don't settle for mediocrity. They don't settle for half-hearted answers or things that are not up to their standards. So they're just not easy people. Again, some of the best athletes I've worked with, they're tough. They're really, really tough to work with. They might look easy on the outside, and in the press you see them, and someone might say to me, "Hey, you work with her or him? They seem like such cool people." Yep, they're good people, but they're very, very tough people to work with. Why? Again, because their standards are so high. And then the last one that I thought about on the run this morning, and thank goodness I had to get back here quick to the hotel room to remember it, was they know where they're going. They've got a vision. So often I ask people when I do speeches and I do talks, what is your vision? And people can't give me what their vision is. So they want success, but they don't know where that destination is. How do you get to that destination, or how do you get to that place if you don't know what you want? And, if that's something I could leave you with today on this podcast is, do you know what you want? Do you know what the destination is? Do you have a purpose? What is your vision? How would you like to see yourself in 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it may be? So that's the fifth thing in what the best of the best have, is that they know where they're going. They see their vision. They see their vision every single day. So quick recap of why the best are the best. There's a reason, is that they're always learning. Number 2, they ask questions. Number 3, they're well connected. Number 4, they're not easy people to get along with. They want the best. They have high standards. And number 5, they know where they're going. They have a vision. So that's it, guys. That's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'm probably going to nip out the door to complete my run, but I was happy to get back, remember it all, get this into a podcast. So wish you an amazing week, and we speak again next week. Have a champion-minded week, everybody. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining me. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with anyone who you might know would benefit from it, or who aims to create excellence in their life. Also, please head on over to iTunes, subscribe, and please leave a review. I would greatly appreciate that. And don't forget that this podcast is also available on YouTube. If you'd like to stay connected, I'm on social media at Twitter at Allistair McCall, Instagram, Be Champion Minded, Facebook, McCall Method, and if you'd like to leave a comment, share some feedback, then please email me at mccallmethod@aol.com. Also, big thanks to all of you who share my posts on social media under the hashtag ChampionMinded. I greatly appreciate it. So, until next week, remember you were made for greatness. Now go out and do the work. Until next time, stay champion-minded, my friends.